the man who is missing an SCV. Hailing from Germany, it is the biggest of Gabriel's HeRoMaRinE.
I am what you call a trendsetter, Kevin, in every sense of the word, okay? Like, when I start cheesing, the world starts cheesing. But to be fair, like, TvP has gone a bit crazy recently, like, on both sides, I feel.
I actually thought that this probe was heading straight towards the barracks, and I was like, oh my god, that'd be a sick start for DNS. But yeah, I've heard you mention this on your stream as well. You kind of feel like it's just chaos, right, from both sides. A lot of Protoss players are cutting corners and playing wild, and then Terrans are kind of try to kind of predict that and blind counter that, and then we just end in a circle of madness.
Kind of, yeah. Like, the Phoenix builds have... well, as you know, like, I mean, you've been playing Phoenix for a long time, but like a lot of people have kind of hopped on the train. And with the Phoenix, you can really play as greedy as you want while dealing damage. And it feels like it's been a real thorn in Terran sides. And a lot of all-ins have started cropping up. But DNS is doing the right thing here. So even though he isn't getting his Nexus up right away, he's getting out that Zealot very, very quickly. HeRoMaRinE has the disadvantage of streaming a lot, and he does this build a lot on stream where he tries to get a bunker in at the natural.
I'm a bit surprised to see Gabe open up with the proxy in game 1, but apparently you've seen it quite a few times. I always feel that if HeRoMaRinE plays a big best of 3 against something like DNS, normally he's just confident and he just kind of relies on a couple of solid build orders, but it seems like he just wants to create a little bit of chaos, and I gotta say this is a decent start as the first probe already goes down. What's happening with the SCV in the natural? That's still alive as well, but this Reaper is putting in some work, man.
This Reaper's super annoying, right? In fact, the SCV isn't building anymore. The Zealot did chase it away, but keeps the SCV alive. So this start for HeRoMaRinE, definitely not a bad one. He is continuing to produce Reapers, which I think 2 is kind of the magic number, right? Like, can't deal with an Adept, but it gets so annoying if you let it in your base. And he's actually adding on Hellions here, and Reapers with a Hellion, that can deal quite a lot of economic damage.
I want to give some props to DNS there as well for only losing a single probe in the main base. I was pretty damn sure that 2, if not 3 probes were going to fall, because a lot of them were low on HP, but he did a great job in saving some of them. So I actually think overall DNS is going to be quite pleased with this start. He should know about the factory as well, right? And do you think it's going to be a Phoenix opener or just an Oracle?
Well, I hope it's a Phoenix opener, so you get to know what you're talking about for the rest of this game, Kevin. You know what I mean? No, I honestly, I think it will be Phoenix. I feel if you start the Phoenix now, you can pretty much get yourself really under control against anything that Terran's going to throw at you. That being said, an Oracle can always feel like a nice play to get yourself like really into the game and get good scouting info. Oh, this is nice. Oh, the Reapers, they went super far in.
Yep. Oh. Actually, if he would have controlled the shade a little bit better, I think that would have been an easy kill on at least one of those Reapers. But, I mean, Gabe gets a good scout off. He now knows that he's going up against a Stargate. And if he was really paying attention, he could have seen that there was a Phoenix in production as well, as the Stargate kind of reveals that. And we can already see the armory being built at home. So it seems that HeRoMaRinE is believing in a couple of cloaked mines. Could work out, but I do feel this is a little bit risky, because imagine if the medevac gets intercepted mid-map or pretty far away from the main or the natural, then you're forced to drop the mines. The Phoenixes can still lift them up, and they can obviously see them before they're burrowed. I think it's a bit risky what Gabe is doing. It's very hit or miss.
It's super hit and miss. And look at that Phoenix. It just missed that medevac leaving the base. And the Phoenix, it looks like it's going to get a scout off of the main base, which is definitely important, but yeah, you're totally right. Gabe going for the Widowmine drop, that is very much like okay, I either win the game or I lose the game. And so far, if he does get it into the base, it's going to be pretty dicey with DNS.
Yeah, it looks like it is actually going to work out, and that is really truly because that first Phoenix missed the medevac. But obviously, Gabe doesn't really know where all those Phoenixes are, so he's being very passive. We can see it on the minimap right now. It is moving in direction. Obviously, HeRoMaRinE is using the Reapers and the Hellion to kind of distract DNS, and DNS is falling for the bait, Ben.
Oh, I mean, yes, he is. If he moves his probes, oh, they are getting moved. 6 down from the first 2. I mean, that's not good. You'd have preferred a lot less. And he does have an Observer coming out, so not the end of the world, but this could have all been avoided. It was very nice baiting by HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, and it's a lot of lost mining time as well, right? Look at all these
Yeah.
probes in the natural. They really haven't done that much. Indeed, a great setup by Gabe. I gotta say, you gotta kind of expect this stuff with your DNS. Because he had a full scout in the main base. Did he see a Viking? Nope. Did he see a Cyclone? Nope. Did he see a tank? It's like, come on, you gotta know that it's out there. And I think it's a bit silly to use all 6 units that you have defensively to chase 2 Reapers and a Hellion outside of your air natural.
Yeah, because what are they going to do in the middle of the map, right? Like, they're only worrisome if they get into your base, and there's got to be a reason why he's dancing around out there. Like, to me, it was a bit obvious. So,
yeah.
But I'm going to be critical of HeRoMaRinE, like scouting a Phoenix opener and then going the Widowmine Armory drop. Like, obviously, it could be a very greedy Phoenix opener where he doesn't get the Robo, gets the third base much faster and stuff, but this was so kind of gambly and just kind of hoping that it was that situation. I feel that Widowmines without the armory would have been just as good almost.
Ooh, those Phoenixes were almost heading towards the medevac, and I'm with you, Ben. It just feels a bit unnecessary. I think these are plays you make if you really feel like you could potentially be the underdog here and you're a bit intimidated by your opponent. You know, hope to get lucky. I don't think Gabe normally needs to get lucky as he is doing. I want to say a good job. Can he finally get a Phoenix? No, he doesn't. DNS with some smooth Phoenix control. Now, that's a smooth operator if I've ever seen one. Well done.
That was super clean. I thought he messed up for a second when he dropped the Cyclone kind of thing and then ran back in, but very nice control. And the supplies are very close between these guys. And HeRoMaRinE, he is doing a big 2-base pressure build. I love the timing of this drop, though.
Yep, the Phoenixes just once again are not in a position to deal with this. These Marines have stim. And don't forget that the Phoenixes already used a lot of energy, so it's actually going to be very hard for them to just fight this, right? I don't think enough lifts are available to kill 7 Marines with stim here.
Oh, and look, he's actually stopped Warp Gate. That is huge. And, like, the Phoenix production stopped as well. This is definitely good for Big Gabe over here. And look at his supply. It's just climbing ahead. The probes as well, losing probes. This drop, I didn't know if it was going to get much done, but holy crap, that is a game winner, as Gabe would say.
It's so funny because those Phoenixes were so damn close at spotting that medevac on the bottom side of the map. If DNS would have clicked slightly further forward, now there's 2 more medevacs in the center of the map. DNS, can you finally catch a medevac mid-map? Yeah, come on, they're right here, but Gabe should be paying attention. And at least he keeps it out of the main band, but yeah, I think the damage has already been dealt. There is a Widowmine drop happening in the third as well. DNS does spot this one, but I think we all know that once TvP start looking like this, it just kind of feels like this is TErran's playground at this point.
Yeah, he's got Widowmines in every base here, Kevin. And I mean, how many observers are on the map? There are 2. And the Colossus count is actually pretty good too. I'm not sure if Gabe wants to take this, but he's feeling it, Kev. He's feeling it. He's running. There were nice force fields to keep the bio back. And DNS actually takes a pretty smooth fight there.
I'm actually amazed that DNS is still up 8 workers. I mean, I guess that has everything to do with the fact that you said Gabe was pretty committed to the 2-base opening. He is building a 3rd command center as we speak. Widowmine still finding indeed a couple of kills here and there, so that's nice. But I actually thought this game was over, but now that I look at it, I'm like, well, HeRoMaRinE still needs to tread very carefully. I think Gabe is in a great position, but you can't really run into Colossi, upper ramp, into shield batteries, because if you do that, I think you can still throw away the lead.
Oh, certainly. I guess the bit of this game that I'm really scared for DNS is when Gabe actually hits the 2-1, because that's when his bio really starts shredding. And obviously DNS is foregone. Upgrades for now. Oh, this is a nice Widowmine drop if it does get in there, and it looks like it will. The Phoenix, the Phoenix. Oh.
Could have been worse, but obviously all of this is just nice for Gabe because DNS, his army is not improving. As long as this stuff is going on, this Protoss army is not getting any better. You mentioned the upgrades, man. +1 is now starting for DNS. +2 is close to finishing up for Gabe. Yeah, I mean, Colossi are good, but then I feel at that point you can just stim your Marauders forward and they really shouldn't have any issues gunning those guys down.
You know the coolest part about this for me? Like, even though I questioned the armory choice earlier on, and for the first drop, I don't think it was necessary. But now afterwards, the follow-up drops that Gabe's been continually doing, the armory is so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
no!
I feel like we're starting to witness the beginning of the end here of this first game on Oxide. Gabe is going to pick up everything. Even though there are 6 Phoenixes, Gabe doesn't give a damn. He actually loses 2 medevacs with bio units inside of it. Feels like a kind of unnecessary play, but once again, he will be able to find quite a bit of damage. There was a recall available, but DNS decides not to recall. And perhaps he didn't want to see his Colossi in a vulnerable position. But then everything is unpowered in the main base. There's no coming back.
There is no coming back. Charge is stopped as well. It's halted. Most of the Phoenix have died as well. Getting quite a bit of a cleanup on some of these medevacs, but the damage has been done. And look at Gabe's upgrades. Like, he didn't miss a beat with starting that +3. I think, does he have a 4th CC behind all this? Actually, no, he doesn't. So that is some saving grace, but...
Yeah, he just planted it down in the center of it. I gotta say, Gabe did lose a lot of bio units there, right? I generally think if they would have just... Yeah, if they would have just fought straight up, that would have probably gone better than losing 3 bio units full of... or 3 medevacs full of bio units in the air to these Phoenixes, as one Widowmine connects with one more Phoenix. At least only 2 Phoenixes are left. DNS is going to try to re-establish some sort of a Phoenix count, as he does still have 1 Phoenix in production. But I think if you've already lost 8 Phoenixes, at this point, you may as well give up, because they're just not going to get the job done anymore.
No, and I mean, if you're 10 Phoenix, don't stop those 8 medevacs from unloading right in their face, because, I mean, the Phoenix were beautifully positioned for it. Then, you know, they're not really going to do much this game, I feel. But, yeah, you're right. Like, the one play that Big Gabe could have potentially just lost the game was doing a crazy drop like that into Phoenix. But he went for it, you know? But I am liking the craziness out of him.
That one Widowmine has been getting a couple of good connections. Yeah, it feels that Gabe at this point is wondering, how do I close out this game? Can I run into it? He is very heavy on the mines, man. And obviously, mines are not that great against Colossi and Disruptors. But if you can just maybe put him in some annoying positions. I think at this point, all that Gabe really needs to do is either get a proper drop in the main. Charge is still not done, by the way. It's a 12-minute game. He's a bit indecisive. I guess it is kind of hard to engage into Colossi.
It is. And like, we're talking about the mines as well. Have you seen that he's actually getting drilling claws? So he's got a factory there with a tech lab and producing 3 Widowmines at a time. Like, he's very committed to this kind of style, it seems. And I mean, they are very annoying when you're playing Phoenix.
The longer this game goes, the more hope I see for DNS, though. Like, I don't love many things in this game for DNS, but any Protoss player that has a bunch of Disruptors against a Terran that's very heavy on Widowmine Marauder, I mean, 2 or 3 great Novas, and all of a sudden this game could be turned upside down.
You are right about the Novas, because they don't give a damn about upgrades. The thing is, I am scared for DNS, because he's about to finish 1-1, which is all well and good, but Big Gabe just hit 3-2 on his bio.
Yeah, but like you said, Novas don't give a damn. So that's it's the only thing you can really hope for. Gabe is now even going to get a couple of Vikings in the mix as well, just to make sure that he can always take out those Colossi. He's adding Ghosts in the mix as well. We do have a Widowmine drop heading into the 3rd of DNS. And I think this one is really going to hurt. That's a lot of probes going down.
I feel like Gabe's having fun right now. Like, he really is. And that drilling claws, the upgrade is obviously a bit of a surprise, but he's definitely consistently wounding DNS. It's just Gabe's getting to the point in the game where he wants to finish him. And I think this 4th, like getting 3 bases up as a Protoss on this map is doable, but getting the 4th and keeping it's going to be difficult for him.
If I was DNS, I wouldn't even go up to 4 bases anymore. I would just try to win. I would max out and I would try to win. He's got 120 army supply. He's got 6 or 7 Disruptors, man. If he lands a couple of great Novas, then you just run into the natural and then you get on top of the production. I actually think there is a little bit of hope. DNS should never win this game, as HeRoMaRinE has played a better game. But looking at this Protoss army, Ben, if Gabe makes 1 or 2 big misclicks, I think anything is still possible.
Certainly is, certainly is. It is a very hard army to control for Gabe. He's coming in from 2 angles here and kind of bullying DNS about a little bit. But DNS, he cannot get surrounded. He can't afford that because his army is significantly weaker on upgrades.
Big EMP land, 1 Nova, does clip a couple of Marauders. I like that one spacing Nova, that's going to be a good one. No, it doesn't, as Gabe snipes the majority of the Disruptors. Then I think he started chasing a bit too far, as he did eat 1 big Nova. Obviously, HeRoMaRinE has no issues replacing all these units, as he's mining quite a bit more than DNS, but I mean, that was 1 fantastic Nova at least, man.
It certainly was. And the fact that they're both equal on supply right now, like, I know Big Gabe's mining more and stuff, but he hasn't been expanding like a madman. And it's not as if his work account's somewhere like in the 80s or whatever. Don't get me wrong, he's playing really, really good. But this game, all it takes is 1 or 2 more bad fights, and DNS is more than back in it.
Yeah, I get a bit scared when I see HeRoMaRinE chase like that. I feel like the last thing that Gabe really had to do was chase that kind of Protoss army, because then I feel like it's just inevitable that you eat 1 big Nova to your face, because whenever you're chasing an army, your army tends to clump up a little bit more, and There is no better scenario to have disruptors than just running home and firing one Nova at a time. Even I can do that, man.
Hold your horses there, Kev. But okay, this is a lot of Vikings getting sniped. Like, DNS is actually, it feels like he's came alive in the last minute or so. Like, DNS is, it's been a bit of a scrappy game. He's definitely been getting bullied quite a bit, but now he's taking pretty decent trades. Ooh, the Colossus. Oh, and the fourth getting sniped. This is nice play by Big Gabe.
Yeah, the double drop is doing a lot of damage. Like, I feel a super long game DNS is never going to win. So I'd say just get a prism to the other side of the map, and then you can always wipe in a few more gateway units. Just try to win. As the Vikings are actually kind of getting picked up one by one. There's only a single Colossi remaining though, but DNS, I feel like, has to realize that he really is on the clock. Like, you're not going to win the game 5 minutes from now. I feel like he should have just made a prism, and now or never try to force the fight and then get on top of the production.
I think you're right. I like, you know, we often kind of discredit players for when they try something crazy, but DNS has been behind for a long time, so he has to do something a bit crazy because he's been struggling with the HeRoMaRinE without the ranged liberators. Now it's with ranged liberators, and I am very worried for DNS all over again.
Yeah, obviously the game is just not getting any better for the French Protoss. It would be awesome if our observer could show us the income graph over the last 10 minutes. But, I mean, if that's the graph, you just know that it's not getting any better for you at this point. And I want to say he's catching up in upgrades, but even that is taking forever, as these Liberators could get a couple of good shots off on these Disruptors. Like, even going for Zealot run by his Neuroplanetary Fortress, he doesn't have that economy. If the tables were turned and he was the one with 5 bases, I'd be like, oh yeah, you can do this stuff, be a little bit reckless. But right now, I just don't see the point in moves like that.
Oh, I like this though, like sharking about on the map. His army is more mobile and whatever, so I like the fact that he's getting in between the bases. But the thing is, Gabe's doing a counterattack on the far right-hand side, which is dealing a lot of damage, and DNS, he's finding it hard to cope with. But these disruptor shots are actually big and juicy there. Lovely Liberator placement though.
Yeah, the libs on top of a ramp. I think that's the game-winning move right there for HeRoMaRinE. Obviously, he's completely destroying DNS's economy on the other side of the map. He's picking up bases. There are still Widow Mines active everywhere. I don't understand why DNS made it so hard for himself. Don't go up ramps. Don't chase the army. I feel like just run into the natural. For my part, even just send a couple probes to the other side of the map so you don't lose a base rate. But now, yeah, now it's too late. He just has nothing anymore. Yeah,
and when you get this many Liberators, like, you know, the game kind of flipped on its head, right? Like, you can't engage the Protoss with Disruptors, but engaging the TErran with the Liberators when he's got a far superior economy to you, yeah, GG, HeRoMaRinE takes the first game, but it was a really good first game, honestly.
Yeah, and leaves us...
Yeah. Anyhow, spawning over in the top left, playing for Team Cascade, it is DNS.
And in the bottom right side, we're looking at the main base of the man who's got DreamHack at 6 and 2 of the fronts at 7. It is HeRoMaRinE. Well, it's gonna try to take a very weird route to the other side of the map. And if both Reapers are on the side of DNS and the Zealot shows up in the natural, maybe you can get a couple hits off on an SCV. Because that command center is actually being built on the low ground for HeRoMaRinE. So could be funny, but I think Gabe is like, you know, he's applying some TVZ logic here. He's like, I know there are Zerglings out on the map trying to nibble away at my command center, so I'm gonna keep them at bay.
So how do you feel when you go up against this kind of build where it's like double Reaper, Hellion kind of thing? Because obviously it's enough to deal with an Adept and what have you, but I always think like that's quite a gas commitment from the TErran, and obviously it's meant to get up this CC rather safely, but we do see that DNS is trading the Zealot for the SCV kill, but delaying the CC. I don't mind this for DNS at all.
I'm totally with you. If I was DNS, I wouldn't mind this either, but it is important that you are bulletproof at home. Like, if you just lose 4 probes and all of a sudden, you know, it's not that good anymore, because then you don't really know what's happening. Your early game is a bit thrown off, and Reapers and Hellions are excellent units. Just kind of close your eyes, send them into a mineral line, and hope you kill a bunch of workers. But I definitely agree with you that if I'm DNS right now, I'd be like, this game is going all right. There's nothing to be super concerned about at this point.
Oh, Big Gabe mixing it up massively here with going for a fast third CC. Like, no tech has really been shown by him. I don't think he's gone for a starport.
But DNS is building a Void Ray, Ben. Is he going for this Void Ray adapting that Trap tried to do in the GSL?
I mean, he could well be. I know Zaun did it against Innovation as well to great success, but doing this against Gabe, Is it just because you're worried about like a drop or something like back at home? I'm not entirely sure about the Void Ray, honestly.
No, but I think if you make one Void Ray, you got to make more, right? Nobody makes one Void Ray.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's the one Void Ray for the medevac drop. You know, like I know that 8 Marine drop's going to come eventually.
Yeah, but it's not. The Oracle dove into the natural, and I believe it got one SCV kill, so obviously not the most successful Oracle in the world. There's the second Void Ray, by the way. But the Oracle didn't head into the main base, and actually confirming that there is a third command center seems like a very... Oh, he did see it. Actually, the Oracle did go deep enough into the natural, so DNS knows that he's playing against a triple CC opening here. He's got to be building a Twilight, like right about now, right? And is it then going to be a Depths, or is it going to be Zealots?
Like, I'm really curious about his build, honestly, because he's done nothing but non-stop pro production. He's getting quite a lead, so there's 2 ways you can go about it, right? When you see a fast third CC, you can try and deal damage to it, and the fact that he went Void Rays, we'd have thought that, but he actually looks like he just wants to outgreed it and go for some safety Void Rays, and it's a really, really weird choice, and this is going to be new for everybody watching, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's great defensively to just put them on patrol. They can potentially gun down a Raven or at least deny medevacs from entering your main base, but they don't scale very well. I feel like they do good as long as the armies are small, and maybe you can overwhelm a Bioforce on the ground if you go Void Ray at depth, Void Ray Zealot, but okay, he goes Blink Stalker. All right, so he's just playing a very passive game, and he's just aiming for some map control. I mean, DNS is 8 workers ahead, but against a triple CC opening, and now because of his opening, it's going to take a long time, Ben, before he has something that's very powerful against Stim Bio, right? Like Colossus, Storm, Zealots with good upgrades, any of those things, it's going to take forever.
It'll take a while, and, you know, we're seeing the Robo come up now. Is that his first? It is his first Robo,
yeah.
So, yeah, any sort of switch is going to be very difficult. And the fact that you go for Blink as well, like, do you need Blink when you've got the safety Void Rays? Like, yeah, it just seems overly safe to me. But that being said, economically, he's not doing too bad. He's actually been mining quite a bit more than HeRoMaRinE for quite some time.
Yeah, but Gabe is the absolute king of just sitting at home, macroing a little bit, building a couple of SCVs, talking to his chat, and then getting 1-1 bio, walking to the other side of the map and just winning a game. I feel like I've seen that around 27 times on the weeklies on Monday, where he just casually walks, and he just always wins with the first push. And, well, this Oracle is actually going to be in trouble. This Oracle will absolutely fall. That's a little bit sloppy. So DNS is going double Robo Bay. I just hope that he can actually deal with Stim Bio before those units really enter the battlefield.
Yeah, because I'd imagine that Gabe does start moving out when he hits +1/+1, right? Because, I mean, this timing for him, it's a huge power spike, along with Stim and Combat Shield. But you're right, Kevin. Like, Big Gabe, I like the fact that you said talking to his chat as opposed to with his chat, because I love Big Gabe's stream, man, when he's talking to himself kind of thing. This Reaper getting a nice scout off here. Gets a probe as well. Did he actually see the second Robo and stuff?
He saw a Robo in the natural. I don't know if he saw the other one. I hope the DNS paying attention with his Stalkers, though. So this is kind of where you try to buy some time with the Blink Stalkers. Gets a Cyclone, but I gotta say, Ben, he's already giving up a lot of ground. Loses a couple of Stalkers. I really don't like this for DNS. He's now actually down economically. And his army, in my opinion, still kind of sucks.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't kind of go beyond, like... I feel that almost staying low tech and just having a huge swell of units would have been better than this. Okay, I'm gonna get fast at 3 bases, then go to Colossus and slow the game down, because the fact that he doesn't have a 4th on the way, or like, you know, double Forge or anything like that, I feel that this is kind of, it's a nice position for the game. Oh, the Raven got in, did plant some turrets here, so that safety Void Ray not being that safe after all.
No, I'm like, what has the Void Ray been doing? I take a look at the Void Ray and it's like left with 10 HP. I'm like, all right, great defense. Well, this is the push that I was very worried about. The Colossi are almost here. A couple of Force Fields do go down, but the damage ban has already been dealt. Even if DNS just cleans this up at this point, I mean, he's losing a lot of probes. He might even lose the Nexus. Charge is finally done, so DNS will save his Nexus, but I think this was a success for HeRoMaRinE regardless.
Well, you know, I thought so too, but soon that Colossus Scout's going to be up 4 with Thermal Lance. Like, Thermal Lance still isn't finished yet, and this counterattack is actually pretty scary. And Gabe, like, he's got no units back at home. He's trying to plant another counterattack, which I think is the correct move to buy time.
Yeah.
In DNS, he is actually marching back home. So I think this is actually very good movement by both of them. but it's playing more into Big Gabe's hands as he is throwing down his 3rd CC, and he's got superior upgrades, or rather 4 CC and superior upgrades on the way.
Yeah, I think if DNS had a prism there instead of, like, let's say instead of having 4 Colossi, he had 3 Colossi, 1 prism, then I actually think he just runs into the natural of HeRoMaRinE. And yeah, you made a great point. All of a sudden, Gabe didn't have that much left, and a lot of the units that he did have, they were out on the map. So how would he ever be able to keep his natural and his 3rd base safe? He probably wouldn't have. And yeah, just DNS seeing those units, perhaps panicking a bit, feeling that he can't afford to lose more probes, is going to make the Frenchman fall back. And that's just great news for HeRoMaRinE because he's mining more and he's getting better upgrades. Look at the production tab, Ben. Compare the two.
Oh, let's see if the safety void ray does well over here, though. Hey, I called it, Kevin. That medevac drop, it was inevitable, you know? It just took 10 minutes to turn up. Oh, and the medevac does unload a couple of Marines, but hey, pay for itself, Kevin. Pay for itself.
Yeah. I just love that auto void ray on the left side of the natural. I was like, how did that auto turret, how did you get 4 auto turrets, 8 dead probes? I was like, what's up with the void ray? And it's like left with 16 HP. I'm like, oh my god, worthless defense.
It's definitely got to be said, though. DNS is in a better spot this game. Like, he hasn't been truly getting kind of torn apart right from the get-go. And upgrade-wise, it's not as if we're seeing 3-2 against just turned 1-1 this game, but DNS opting for the same unit comp again, where he starts getting the disruptors out. He's got a good amount of void rays. The thing is, I feel that Gabe, this is getting to his super comfort zone, right? Where he's got like a bit of an upgrade lead. And when it comes to getting ghosts out, it's a very hard army to take down as a Protoss.
Yep, Gabe sending a couple of Marines forward. There are a few Zealots charging into the 3rd, and the traditional HeRoMaRinE bunker is actually very exposed at the 3rd base. Gabe was a little bit slow to repair it there as well. Normally he really tucks it in with depots, and then it always stays alive. This time there was a lot of surface area to work with for those Zealots. So actually not a bad run by at first, and look at that, HeRoMaRinE was not confident enough to mark that command center into a planetary fortress.
No, and DNS is at his front door, and this is kind of where you want to be as a Protoss, because then it means you don't have to really defend too much against, the main army and kind of getting torn apart. And behind all this, DNS has secured a 4th. He's getting lots of probes. He's also transitioning to the DT phase of the game, which is far more comfortable one for the Protoss.
Yep, and now the Frenchman is the one who's actually on 4 bases. HeRoMaRinE send out 3 medevacs. Rico has been used, though. DNS spotted that and will most likely just get out of there immediately. Yeah, it's funny because there are still a lot of things that I didn't really like for DNS in this game. But now all of a sudden, he's maxed out. He's got money in the bank. I believe there is a little bit of harass happening in the main base as well. But that disrupt account is getting scary. And this time he's indeed nowhere near as far behind as he was in the previous game. If he's even behind at all.
Yeah, I'm liking his position a lot more. He's accumulating a bank. He's throwing down his 2nd forge as well, which just shows he feels he's survived the scary part of the game. And he's starting to do like counterattacks with Zealots, which I'm not sure if they both spotted each other there. Maybe HeRoMaRinE saw DNS, but not the other way around. But this game's going to start getting crazy very soon if it hasn't already.
DNS going up to 5 bases, feeling that confident. I gotta say shout out to the no F2 used by DNS as well, because those Void Rays have indeed been on patrol for the entirety of the game. My Void Rays would have already been in the TErran natural 3 times, man, flying over a turret. I was like, damn it.
I was about to say, this is a strategy that I wouldn't be able to do, because I think I'm doing way too much, man. Okay, that Void Ray does fly in with 10 health and gets immediately taken out. So useless in yet again, but this drop in the natural. Oh, DNS is actually launching a pretty good counterattack, and that is the nice bunker we talked about. DT's walked in to be defensive. Damage done on both sides here.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like it by Gabe, but DNS does get the cleanup. He gets all the medevacs. There are a few random Zealots in the natural. I hope HeRoMaRinE is paying attention to those, because he's actually moving out, Ben. He's gonna split against Disruptors. There are 2 Zealots that are gonna kill like 20 SCVs in the natural. Oh my god, big Nova as well.
Yeah, that Disruptor got a lot of kills, and oh my god, those 2 happy Zealots, Kevin. 21 SCVs falling. The Disruptor shots were on point as well. Big Gabe down to just 47 SCVs right now. This almost feels like a do-or-die situation for him now, but the tanks, the Vikings, they are hard to take out here.
Yeah, Vikings are actually going very far forward and getting a couple of shots on the Colossi. The probes are now revealing the fact that DNS does have that base on the left side as well. Gabe apparently already saw that. And the EMP does land. I almost feel that DNS could chill a little bit. He did so much damage. Like, losing that base hurts, but I feel it doesn't hurt nowhere near as much as he's been eating 17 volleys of that tank.
Yeah, that tank, all those 3 tanks behind that cliff, which are nicely positioned. it doesn't really excuse the fact that DNS kind of marches in, takes a few shots. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get out of here again. Like, you know, this is kind of like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But this is shame on him like 10 times in a row.
He's like, oh my god, the tank is still there. He's like, every time he goes on the road, he's like, I can't believe it. Don't those things ever move? Because we have a double drop heading into the base at 9 o'clock, but DNS did pop in a couple of settles. He's like, oh my god, the tank is still there. It's like, I can't believe it.
It's like the stubborn old man, isn't it, that keeps getting fooled. It's like, I can't believe that they haven't moved here. Oh my goodness. Okay, HeRoMaRinE, he's actually getting into that stage of the game where he's hitting 3-3 very soon. Yeah. More ghosts are joining the field, the Liberators. And I do like the fact that Big Gabe, he's kind of just securing this position because it is one that's kind of hard to do. And that now 4th base of DNS is super duper exposed.
Okay, DNS is finally going to go for it. Right when HeRoMaRinE, by the way, on sieges, can Gabe actually evacuate? One of the disruptors got picked off by that last remaining tank. I think this might be a decent... What are the Archons doing? They're not fighting at all. The Archons are just running away from the rest of the army. This is actually going from bad to worse for DNS. He's got so many Archons, but they haven't done anything.
And they're not going to do much, are they? How many ghosts does Big Gabe have? All those Archons melt, and oh my gosh, the meat grinder, Big Gabe